Welcome to Corbett's Kitchen. Today we're going to be making chicken pesto pasta. These are the ingredients that you will be needing. Measurements are in the description. So in the food processor, you're just going to be putting in your basil. Then for my recipe, I like to add equal parts of spinach for extra flavor and protein. Traditional pesto requires pine nuts in the recipe, but for mine I wanted to add in some pistachios for sweetness. Then we're going to take a zest of 1 lemon on top of a microplane. Now go ahead and get your finger in there and just swipe off everything else that's left. You don't want to waste any of the lemon zest. Now we're going to just juice the lemon that we just zested. And with that same microplane, we're going to grate some Parmesan or Reggiano cheese for this recipe. So now we're just going to put the lid back on and go ahead and pulse this into a nice fine paste. Be sure to use a plastic spatula to scrape off whatever's left on the sides. Then we're going to put the lid back on, put this on pulse, and pour in some extra virgin olive oil super slowly so everything gets smooth and emulsified. Only to come to the realization you forgot to add in 2 cloves of garlic. Okay, let's try this again. Pesto is done, just go ahead and slide this into a bowl, and we're going to save this for later. Then we're going to take our chicken breast and put it on the cutting board and butterfly. Be sure to trim off any excess fat that you see on the breast. Then we're going to dice this up into nice 1-inch cubes. Just going to scoop up all of our diced chicken and put this into a bowl and save for later. Then you wash off your cutting board and your knife, and then we're going to start dicing up a yellow onion. We have that yellow onion nice and diced. We're just going to take a bench scraper and put all this into a bowl and save for later. Then when you got all the onion, we're going to cut up a broccoli. Just take all those florets off from the stem. Now we don't want any pieces to be too big, so we're just going to take all these florets and cut them in half for the pasta. Then we're just going to collect all those florets of broccoli and just put them in the bowl with the onions. Next up, we're just going to thinly slice some sun-dried tomatoes that I had soaking in hot water for about half an hour. We're just going to take all those strips of sun-dried tomato and put those in a separate bowl. Next up, with a non-stick skillet, add to medium-high heat and about a 1/4 cup of olive oil. We're going to start off by adding our chicken. And we're just going to stir this around occasionally for about 2 minutes. And then we're going to season the chicken first off with some salt and pepper. Next up for seasoning, we're going to add some dried oregano, followed up by dried thyme. Next up, just a tiny pinch of chili flakes. Then when the chicken is just about halfway cooked, we're going to add in the broccoli and onions. In a large pot of boiling water, we're going to add in our penne pasta. Then in the chicken, we're going to add in our sun-dried tomatoes. Go ahead and stir that around for about 2 minutes. The sun-dried tomatoes add in a whole dynamic of flavor and a beautiful new color. Penne pasta normally takes 11 minutes to reach a nice al dente. I'm pretty sure some of you are asking why I put the colander inside of a bowl, but I just want to save some of the pasta water for this dish. Not all of it, just like a little bit. Now we're just going to strain this out all the way and add in our pasta and with the chicken and the vegetables. Now we're just going to stir this up until every ingredient is well integrated in the pan. Next up, we're going to add in our pesto, which is the star of the show. Then we're just going to mix this up until the sauce is well incorporated and well integrated into all the pasta. Last but not least, least, we're going to add in some of that pasta water. That way it will hold as the glue for the sauce and the pasta and all the other condiments. To plate up, we're just going to take 2 scoops of the pasta, and then we're going to add in 2 leaves of basil and top it off with some grated Parmesan Reggiano. This pesto dish gives off a beautiful, pungent, sweet flavor that is very complimentary, light, hearty, and healthy. Thank you very much for watching another episode of Corbett's Kitchen, and peace to all the beings in the universe.